Hello, everyone. Welcome to SLOconf 2023. In today's talk, I will discuss why SLO is important and how SLOs can help to pursue customer happiness. My name is Francis Zhao-Perez, a product manager who has been passionate about building, running reliable services and how to manage and measure our services to meet customer expectation and achieve customer happiness. I'm super excited to be in this community and discuss SLO today. Let's start with why SLO matters, the secret sauce for customer happiness. So it's all about the customers. Modern technology and cloud services empower customers with more access to information, business, and options than ever before. Customer expectations increase with the assumption of not only about the brand, product, or service and the level of care they receive throughout their journey, but also about time to market, how easy and how fast the services are, and how reliable the service can do the job. The challenges are really about how do we balance and prioritize between delivering new services, new features versus reliability work. How do we find edge of excellence? I remember a kid from Noble 99, we were talking about this. This is my favorite term. It's about edge of excellence and where should we invest more. SLO comes to play. It has a goal of finding the right balance between new feature delivery and reliability. And the SLO is agreed upon target about how reliable a service should be over time. You define your SLOs based on your SLA or other risks to your business, and your error budget is how you track whether you are violating your SLO. SLI come from your many observability tools, and depending on how you set up your SLOs, it may need to be aggregated together to provide holistic view so that you can calculate compliance. That means SLIs inform SLOs. Before we look further, let's come back, take a look at the service lifecycle. From an end-to-end perspective, every single step in a service development and operation lifecycle is very important for achieving service reliability. After service has been architectured, built for high availability, deployed, managed with a high reliability, instrumented for service insights, telemetry, service owners continue use this cycle to improve, which is very important. Means it's not a one-time thing. You define your service insights, but also leverage this process to improve and continue improve. So running service at high nice availability and reliability is about the people, process, and the tools as much as about being services that conform to cloud best practice models, architecture patterns, and well-defined architecture frameworks. It really requires to bring tools and data together to operate application at the next level. To be able to achieve service level commitment and goals, the most critical part is about the service health monitoring. Actionable insights, alerts, and the tooling to help service team to debug, troubleshoot unplanned changes, as well as de-risk planned changes. First, we need to define major SLOs that encapsulate customer experience to determine service health. Second is really create actionable alert. This is super important because otherwise you're going to have lots of noisy alert. Make sure your alerts are actionable, which captures operation issues before they become customer facing. So if you get a call from a customer, they reported the issue before you know it, which is really in bad situation. Make sure we engage right subject matter expert to debug, troubleshoot, and mitigate. Next, really about debug and troubleshoot root cause, including deeper visibility into operation health through telemetry signals, alerts, as well as correlating system change, such as service update, patching operations, configuration change, or infrastructure changes. Big percentage, almost more than 80% of severity 0-1 incident really caused by change. That means it's really important for us always understand and also tie those change data with your incident management process. And also very important, execute consistent, repeatable, and well-defined incident response process that you can scale from single service blips to coordinating a large-scale incident. Such you have long-running service, and also you have multi-service events. And also learn from all service incident, whether they impact the customer or not, improve operation posture, reduce operation pain by iterating on process. This is super critical, understanding, where it's really we need to improve, and including updated training material, content, or run book, and adding additional alerts, because this is ongoing, like we talked in last slides. It's a process we want to continue to improve, make sure we also change architecture if needed, and also fix bugs. Lastly, but it's very important that we have robust RCA process that answer fundamental questions, including customer impact, event timelines, deeper root cause analysis, and action plan. This is very important. And again, it's an end-to-end life cycle, but the service health management is very critical. Make sure we have SLO defined, we have right incident management process, we have actionable alert, and also we continue to improve. So as I mentioned earlier, monitoring observability is super critical in service health management, which help us to achieve customer happiness. Let's take a look what's the difference and why it's so important. Today, looking across monitoring and observability offering in the industry, the focus has been, and the bread and butter business has been collecting data, different telemetries, store them, and interactively querying telemetry data, such as metrics and logs. And so you can build a dashboard and alerting for spearfishing, for debugging, troubleshooting, and creating, human readable dashboards and analytics reports. The fundamental challenge with the model has been really cardinality data. Always have a challenge. You have this type of high throughput, but miss the high cardinality. So, and then observability came to the play, solving the high cardinality needs, along with cloud migration, highly distributed system, dynamic resources. Capabilities with a distributed tracing and an event, it really helps service operators quickly debug and mitigate the risk of changes. What we see from this diagram is really about the 3 tiers. The overall monitoring and observability signal come from telemetry collected via service instrumentation and collections. This can be done through third-party connectors, can be done by piping data from open source like OpenTelemetry. The signal type can be metrics, log, trace, and event. For different use cases, scenarios such as service health insights, analytics, SLOs, dashboarding, and actionable alerts. So these can be stored as a TLSDB database. It also can be high cardinality transaction data, which can be stored and also designed for troubleshooting and debugging, really for incident management and quickly de-risk planned changes and also diagnose unplanned changes. Again, it's really 3 tier. However, use case is really about high throughput, use case for TSDB database, which is good for overall service health management, for insights, for actionable alert, for analytics. But also we have high cardinality data, which is really good for real-time troubleshooting, debugging, which is really good for de-risk your changes. So there are lots of confusing in the industry that observability is a new fancy term of monitoring. To make it clear, it's really observability is not replacing monitoring, but you need both. You need both. For example, for monitoring, it is really focused on understanding health. Monitoring provides overall business health insights, define and manage the service SLO, and set actionable alert on signals and SLOs. This really helps us to connecting well-boundary defined subsystem back to the goal of overarching application and a service and a business. Again, this gives us overall capability to look into service health in a broader view. For observability, it's really about understanding changes. Observability helps us accelerate and de-risk, planned changes and also mitigate unplanned changes, which is super critical. Again, observability not replacing monitoring. You need both. You need overall service health management, analytics, reporting, dashboarding, alerting, but also you do need real-time debugging, troubleshooting capability, which support high cardinality as well. So this is really important. Let's move on to next. Let's think about how we think about SLOs. SLOs measure what matters. At a high level, a service level objective is really a way of measuring performance of, correctness of, completeness of some component of a service with a well-defined boundary over time by compare functionality of a specific service level indicator against a target goal, which is really important. Is we have SLO help us to measure what matters. It's really about define your SLO, measure performance, correctness, and completeness, but the end of the goal is measure what matters to the customer. SOI and SLO definition need to be reflect broader characteristic. Here are a few we would like to discuss with you. Number one is about meaningful. By definition, service is system that offers functionality to users. So SLIs should be critical functionality driven and should be customer perceived as much as possible. Question to ask here is, are we doing what users need and expect us to do? Each services really need to measure a lot in terms variety, different layers in each stack. For example, traditionally we have application built from infrastructure layer, database, application server, and web tier, multi-tier stack. But SLI should be used as a broader proxy for service reliability, should be measured at the system boundary level. For example, data service with a complex distributed stack should be really care about write query latency, more than other system metrics such as garbage collection. This is just one simple example. Again, your SLO definer should be, based on customer experience and customer pursued experience as well. Number two is really about maturely acceptable. SLOs represent part of a contract between you and your customers. Listening to users help set the right SLO. Given that this is a business decision about the service, engineers and the product management and leadership from both the service provider and the consumer side should be really deciding these SLO together. SLOs must be understandable and where both you and your customer can agree on the definition. So next, very important is make sure it's actionable and controllable. This doesn't mean you can control the end-to-end components involved in the system. It really means that SLO should reflect some insights that you could take action to improve the same. For example, request rate cannot be controlled because it's up to user desire. For rate-limited service, request rate beyond a limit does not adversely impact other users. For non-rate limited service, for example, which is really adverse customer impact, is better measured in terms of service availability or latency. As opposite to an SLO on request rate, which is non-actionable, as a service might still be available and responsive beyond the request rate SLO. Next one is really about measurable. Make sure you have right metrics. SLI should be quantitatively measurable using the availability toolings, which is very important, and make sure it's achievable. SLO should be achievable with realistic targets. Avoid those. We have 5 nines, 6 nines, 100%, which is not possible. So if you don't have information on customer expectation, start with a target that is really little more than just your historical achieved baseline. You have been doing well, and your customer has been happy enough, and just make sure your target is just a little better than that to start with. Of course, very important, continue get feedback from your users, from your customer. SLO must be able to evolve over time, not done. You define SLO, make sure based on your service health, overall health, based on your incident, based on your customer feedback, make sure you continue to tune your SLO and also tune the target, continue to evolve, make sure it's really changeable. And also SLO should be much higher for those services operating in a critical tier. For example, you have some service in the critical path, make sure those is really much higher target than other services. Also SLO should be modifiable. As I mentioned earlier, you will continue to make sure you can change those. And also very important, make sure it's affordable. It's about investment and return. Nothing comes from free. Well, it's always attempting, to have a higher target. And also, your customers always want everything. So your SLO definition must strike a good balance between the cost and available business budget. So of course you can do, 4 nines, 5 nines, but you will have to invest a lot. Again, I really like the term of edge of excellence, which really describes this well. Means where you find the balance, find that edge of excellence, your customer happy, you have right amount of investment. Remember that uptime of 3 nights, for example, per day means a downtime only 1.5 minutes per day. Extra nights has its cost. This is super important to remember. We have described why SLO important, how we think about SLO, and also we talk about monitoring, observability. And the real purpose here is really want to emphasize, we understand SLO is a great tool to help us drive customer value. It enables service owners to understand, define, and track meaningful, relevant, and actionable metrics. Remember, we want to make sure the SLO is meaningful, affordable, and measurable, but also actionable. That reflect their own customer experience based on type of service. So whatever service we own, make sure we understand how the user use our service, what's the business KPIs, and also what's the key customer experience, and what kind of support they need. Service owners select the appropriate metrics that are representing their SLIs and define SLO that represent the key customer experience and the business KPI. So SLOs can represent user experience, service-wide availability, and the key customer workflows. Again, SLOs help companies find a balance between new feature delivery and enhancement and maintain site reliability, which are two of the things very important, the greatest impact to our user experience and our business and customer happiness. SLO help us to pursue customer happiness. Let's continue this journey and let's SLO. Thank you very much for listening.